Hello! I'm really excited to be back, so I'm sorry if my energy is a bit unhinged. I've just had so many videos planned for like the last 2 weeks and I haven't been able to film because I got some weird like allergic reaction or skin reaction that just happened all over my lip. You can see it a little bit in my upcoming reading vlog for like trying to hit my Goodreads goal, but I just had to have like a week of just a pseudocreme moustache, so obviously it's a bit counterproductive trying to like film content, so I've just taken a breather, but now I'm like fully ready to like binge film and just like assault your sub box with like all of my rambling. So as you can probably gather by the title of this video and this very exciting pile beside me, today is going to be a Christmas haul. I'm going to be talking through all of the exciting books that I got for Christmas from my lovely friends and family, and I'm just so excited to gush about these books. Also, I'm loving this fashion vibe for the new year. I've got like polo neck, sort of, you know, business at the top, and then velvety sweatpants at the bottom. Business in the top, party at the back. Happy fucking New Year, everyone. That's how we do things on this channel. That was so embarrassing. Okay, so I'm gonna go in vague chronological order because that's just kind of how my brain works and that feels nicest for my brain. So the earliest Christmas gifts I got were from my partner Criterion because we exchanged gifts early. Because we don't spend Christmas together and we both go home to our respective families. Well, I say go home, Criterion goes home, I just stay home because home is where I am. Thanks COVID. So yeah, we exchanged presents a little bit earlier in December, and I'm very excited about what I got. So I was very excited to receive The Maidens by Alex Michaelides? Alex Michaelides. I'm just going to say it with confidence and then no one can correct me. And this is a dark academia novel set in Cambridge. So obviously ticking all my boxes. My partner Kieran, who gave me this, just recently this year moved to Cambridge for work, so it's been a town that I've gotten to know a little bit more. I've loved wandering around. I love that dark academia aesthetic, all of the old university buildings, they're gorgeous, all of the kind of cobblestones and like the sandy walls. Oh, it's just so nice. I had brief dreams of being like an Oxford or a Cambridge girl, you know, in those early years of like private school where you feel like you're really important and you're really smart and like the world owes you so much, and then you reach sixth form and you burn out and you just think fuck it, like this isn't worth it. I went on that journey, but there's still a part of my heart that yearns and kind of mourns for that girl who like wanted to be head girl and wanted to go to Oxford or Cambridge and like live that cool, intelligent girl life, the Hermione Granger life, if you will. And that's the sort of itch that the dark academia genre scratches for me. Apart from the fact that dark academia, I don't know too much about the plot, so I might just read you the little blurb. St. Christopher's College, Cambridge, is a closed world to most, yet fucking tell me about it. For Mariana Andros, a group therapist struggling through her private grief, it's where she met her late husband. Oh, this is not what I thought it was at all. For her niece Zoe, it's a tragic scene of her best friend's murder. Oh shit, okay. As memory and mystery entangle Mariana, she finds a society full of secrets, which has been shocked to its core by the murder of one of its own. Because behind its idyllic beauty is a web of jealousy and rage which emanates from an exclusive set of students known only as the Maidens, a group under the sinister influence of the enigmatic professor Edward Fosker. Okay, so there's like secret society vibes, kind of like secret history, kind of like Ninth House. I'm enjoying this vibe. Okay, I am so ready for this. This might be one that like I'd make a bit of a priority on my TBR. And the other gift from wonderful Korean was Trans Wizard Harriet Porber and the Bad Boy Parasarolophus by Chuck Tingle. Now, if you're not aware of who Chuck Tingle is, I'm about to make your life so much better. So Chuck Tingle, I'd say, is like an infamous internet personality, sort of, who is just very famous for writing very bizarre erotica. It's like trans species, trans object, I don't even know how to describe some of it. Like sometimes it's like sex between like a woman and a boat, sometimes it's like a lizard and a boat. I mean, it's not all about boats, there's other stuff there, but just go and look on the website. There is like any sort of imagining you can configure there's probably a Chuck Tingle erotica about that. And obviously this is quite a pointed Harry Potter erotica because it's about a trans wizard, and we all know Turf Rowling and how annoyed this would make her, and I think that kind of pleases me a little bit. I'm very excited to read this. I am actually going to read it. I'm thinking maybe we can do like a erotica reading vlog in February for like Valentine's Day. Very exciting. Just the cover is just sending me all sorts of mixed messaging, and I love it. And really the thing I'm most curious about is the parts which aren't the sex. Like obviously with erotica you expect bizarre and funny sex scenes, like we all see those circling the internet when like the bad sex awards in fiction come around. Love that time of year. But strangely I just want to know what kind of plot ties the sex scenes together. Like what is Chuck Tingle's writing like when it's not writing erotica? I'm just very, very curious. So hopefully you'll come along with me and we can do a reading vlog at some point, and I'm very excited to have this on my bookshelf. So if we go by chronological order, the next kind of present that I opened was from my wonderful Secret Santa, who is not so secret, Charlotte from Queenie Reads, and she was very kind to send me Take a Hint, Danny Brown, and Act Your Age, Eve Brown. So I'm all set on the like erotica romance front, and I am very excited to get to these. I really enjoyed Get a Life, Chloe Brown, when I read it last year, and these next two books follow her sisters, so it's the Brown Sisters trilogy, and Talia Hibbert's writing style is just so easy to read, it's so sunny, it's so light, but it also doesn't shy away from dealing with sort of darker topics or, you know, more serious issues. For example, in Get a Life, Chloe Brown, our main character Chloe struggles with a chronic illness, and Hibbert explores how that like inhibits and affects her ability to search for romance and how that impacts her relationships and her friendships, and I found that really interesting. So I'm really looking forward to reading these and rounding out the trilogy and finding out more about Chloe's sisters, and I just love any book that deals with like siblings, especially sisters, just because I'm an only child, so it's always been like a little void that I'm not bitter about in any way. So I just love any sort of books or series that focus on sisters, and I'm just so ready to get to these. So thank you very much, Santa. Charlotte, thank you very much. So next up, this is a lovely little pile of stuff that my parents got me for Christmas on Christmas Day, and it was just wonderful. And I've sneaked in some DVDs because I just want to talk about film, and I'm going to make a whole separate video just for 2 Blu-rays. So I got Promising Young Woman on Blu-ray, and I don't have a Blu-ray player, but I am very worried about being left behind with the times, because I think Blu-ray is where it's at, and I have an alarmingly large collection of DVDs, and people keep telling me that they're going out of date. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to start buying films I want in Blu-ray, just so like there's no danger of them being out of date anytime soon. Anyway, in case you missed it, this is like one of my favourite films of last year. It's just blew my mind at the time, and I made a whole video about it, so I can link that in the description. I just loved it. I mean, there's been so much like discourse and a lot of kind of poisonous discourse on the internet about this, so if you haven't heard of this and you haven't heard kind of people's hot takes, I'd say the best thing is just go in blind, see how you react to it, see what you think about it, and then engage. I would love to hear your thoughts if you want to go and drop them in the comments of the video I made, because that's all like a spoiler discussion. So yeah, I love this film, and I'm very excited to get a Blu-ray player and then watch this. And the other Blu-ray I got was very exciting, and it's my first ever Criterion Collection Blu-ray. So if you're lucky enough to not be really obsessive about film, the Criterion Collection, I mean, the Criterion Collection is hardly like indie. Lots of people think that it's like the indiest thing you can get is something on the Criterion Collection, but the Criterion Collection deals with a lot of mainstream films as well, so anyway. But the Criterion Collection is basically just what it is. It's a collective of certain films that have been highlighted and curated, and a lot of them tend to be very well respected films, very revolutionary films in their various genres and various sort of modes of cinema, like, you know, French New Wave or like silent cinema, and like all of these different eras of cinema. The Criterion channel like highlights kind of best of and the game changers and the trailblazers, and you can buy those in Blu-ray, and you do these wonderful sort of like slipcase editions that have little special extras and like a booklet about the making of the film, and like they talk to the director and the people that are involved, and they just have these gorgeous sort of artwork to go with it, and it's just a wonderful object. So the film that I got was Wes Anderson's Moonrise Kingdom, which is my favourite ever Wes Anderson film. Still hasn't been topped. I've seen, I think, most of his like back catalogue, but it's still my favourite ever. Probably because it's coming of age. Just so predictable, but I love it, and I'm so excited to finally own like a Criterion DVD. It just makes my film heart very happy. And now I'm scared that I will just start obsessively buying a lot more, because like once you have the first one you're like, oh, I can justify it now, I'm a collector, whereas when I had none I couldn't justify it, but I can now. And so now onto the books, and I'm gonna kick off with the filmish one because that seems thematic. Oh god, okay, I need to contain myself, otherwise this video is gonna be 3 hours long. This is Coraline, a closer look at Leica stop motion witchcraft, was edited by Mihaela Mihalova, and when I tell you, I exhaled several breaths when I found out that this existed. My love affair with stop motion started with Night Before Christmas when I was a child, and it is a love that has lasted my whole life. And so when Coraline came out, a book that we'd read in school, and we went on a class trip to see it, I was just so enamoured with that world and those characters, and then to see it so beautifully realised in stop motion animation, it just blew my tiny mind. And it is a film that I return to a lot. It's very comforting for me. And also there's an element of like, not like other girls, because everyone in my school was like terrified of Coraline and stop motion animation in general, and I just like loved it and I was fascinated by it, and people were like, oh my god, how can you watch that? And I was like, I just think it's beautiful. I was the worst. So yeah, I am very, very excited to grab a highlighter, grab a notebook, make extensive, stupid long notes while reading this book, like dipping in and out of it. It's about to get very nerdy up in here, so thank you so much, Dad. You the one. Thank you. This is incredible. Another book I got for Christmas was The Adventure of the Christmas Pudding by Agatha Christie, and this is this beautiful foiling. I love it. Depends how long you've been on this channel, but you may or may not know about my issues with the Agatha Christie editions that I have. Basically, it's not a big deal. They were releasing these Agatha Christie books in like sort of really cute pocket editions that were like smaller than regular paperback size, and I was slowly collecting them, making my way downtown, and then they changed them. They just changed them into normal paperback size. So now if I want to read Agatha Christie, I have to buy a version that doesn't match all the ones that I have, but I made an exception for this beautiful hardback Christmas edition, and I know that they have a summer one and a winter one, which I may get, and I believe it's like short stories, so I don't think there's any overlap with the current novels that I have, but I will have to just double check. But anyway, I'm just excited for the vibes. I love Christmas, I love murder. That sounds bad, but I'm very excited to just have all the vibes. Although I'm a bit annoyed, obviously, like it's a Christmas gift, so I feel the optimum time to have read this would have been in the lead up to Christmas. So I'm like, do I have to wait a year now before I read it? I don't know. We'll see. But I'm very excited to have this. And can we please have a moment? She is the moment. Look at her. I'm gonna do close-ups because you can't really see probably from where you are. But I have this gorgeous folio society. Here she is. My first folio society. This is a very exciting video. It's like my first folio society book as well as my first Criterion DVD. Like, oh, who is she? My camera was so shook at how beautiful it is that it died. But we're back, and she's just gorgeous. She's incredible. I have read Howl's Moving Castle once before, but I remember like little to nothing about it, like about the book I mean. I remember the film very well, one of my favourite Studio Ghibli films, if not my favourite, so I'm very excited to reread it in this gorgeous edition with the illustrations and just drink it in and just live my best life, essentially. So thank you very much, Mama, for this one. And the last book that I opened on Christmas Day was Flight from the USSR by Dato Turashvili, and this was from my grandmother on my mum's side. So she's Georgian, and Georgia is where I was born. It's where my mum grew up and where my grandparents are. So this is the translation of a Georgian book about a famous event in Georgian history, which, as you could probably tell, I know embarrassingly little about. It's, you know, my cultural heritage, so hopefully this book is like the start of me getting more in touch with that side of myself. So this is the best-selling novel of Dato Turashvili, based on the most tragic and scandalous story of Soviet Georgia of the 1980s. 7 young people hijacked an airplane to escape from the Soviet Union, which was an exceptional action because at that time even a thought of escaping the Soviet Union was criminal. The Soviet government condemned most of these young people to death for their naive, even if dangerous, attempt. So this is going to be a very new reading experience for me, so I'm very excited to see what I think, and thank you very much my grandma, my bevel, for giving this to me for Christmas. And we have this lovely pile of presents from my bestie B, who I host Briar's book club with, so you'll know her if you come to our discussions, which you should be doing. Our book club is thriving. I love her. We're inconsistent, but we're fun, you know? So my wonderful co-host and just buddy, pal, partner in crime for life, B, my love, she got me some wonderful Christmas presents. The first was a surprise for Christmas and other seasonal mysteries. Again, crime and Christmas, my two true loves. Very excited to read this. And B is a wonderful artist and comic illustrator. She writes and illustrates her own comics. She is wonderful. She's award nominated. She's just incredible. It's like hard being friends with her because I'm so inadequate. Anyway, but because she's such a comics connoisseur, she always gets me little zines and comics from birthdays and Christmas, and I very much appreciate. So she got me No One Comes to the Lake Anymore by Charles Foreman, who is the author of The End of the Fucking World, which is iconic, and I need to actually get into those comics. I've seen the show but not read the comics, and this is basically like follows this kind of horror like kind of Jason Voorhees figure who is just very bummed that no one comes to the lake anymore, and he's lonely and sad, and it's a very short little zine, and it just looks really fun and really cute, and I'm excited. Yes, cute is the way that we're going to describe horror zine, Anna. That's the word we're looking for. And the other little zine that she got me, which I've already read, was Sour Pickles by Cleo Isadora, and I read it to like bump up my Goodreads goal at the end of the year because I was stressed. And in this one we follow our main character Pickles, who is sort of struggling in her final year of art school and just struggling with like maintaining a life and being able to afford to do art full time, and like all the issues that come with that, and just getting through art school, and then the big chasm of graduation and how to actually make money off of the thing that you've spent the last, well, not even last 3 years, your whole life, like working towards. Like, how do you actually do the thing that you've been prepping for? It's impossible. Fun. And I recently had the exact same experience when I graduated film school in a pandemic with no prospects. So it's fun. It's a fun time. And so I enjoyed, and I was in pain reading this, but it's very good. So thank you very much, B, for my wonderful Christmas presents. And the last three we have to talk about were not gifts, were they? Somebody went to the 50% off hardbacks sale at Waterstones. It was me. Despite having been spoiled rotten by family and friends, it wasn't enough for me. I just had to have more. So in the 50% off hardback sale, I picked up No One Is Talking About This by Patricia Lockwood, which was nominated for the Man Booker and the Women's Prize for Fiction. So obviously she's doing something right, and I wanted to figure out what it was. So I have no idea what this is about. All I've heard people say is that it's about grief and social media, which honestly, mood, like my life. Grief, social media, that's it. So I'm really excited for this one. I don't want to know too much about it because, like, with a book that has this much hype around it, I kind of don't want to know too much. I wanted to see how I feel, and then I'll read all of the think pieces and essays and reviews like afterwards. So yeah, very excited to dive into this one. I then also picked up Conversations on Love by Natasha Lunn, which is different writers sharing essays on different forms of love. So the front says lovers, strangers, parents, friends, endings and beginnings. And I believe some of the writers featured are people that I sort of know. I think Dolly Alderton's in there, and I recently read Ghosts and I really enjoyed that. It doesn't give you a list of the contributors. That's not... Oh, at the back it... yes, it does. So we have Philippa Perry on Falling in Love Slowly, Dolly Alderton on Vulnerability, Stephen Gross on Accepting Change, Candace Carter-Williams on Friendship, Lisa Tadeo on The Loneliness of Loss, Diana Evans on Parenthood, Emily Nagoski on The Science of Sex, Elaine de Botton on The Psychology of Being Alone, Esther Perel on Unrealistic Expectations, Roseanne Gay on Redefining Romance, and many more. So just on that list there are several authors that I recognise, so I'm really excited to dive into this one. I don't read enough non-fiction, but I'm hoping that this one will be quite conversational, quite accessible, and therefore it will be like quite easy to dip into, so I'm excited. And the last one that I picked up in the sale was Christmas Poems by Caroline Duffy. Isn't this just the most beautiful thing you've ever seen? Like, I can't remember if it was last year or the year before, but recently I've really been enjoying the Chris Riddle poetry collections and just been getting more into poetry and anthologies in general, and just this was one that I had to have. I love Christmas, I love Caroline Duffy, it just made thematic sense, and it was 50% off, so just how could I say no? This is just a gorgeous, gorgeous object, and I'm really excited to get my way through this. Although again, same issue with like the Agatha Christie, I'm like, when do I read this? Because like my excitement says now, but I'm like, I really want to read it in the build up to Christmas time, but I don't want to wait a year, so I'm just going to have a think on that one. So those are all the wonderful books and 2 DVDs that I got for Christmas from my various wonderful friends and family. I am just so grateful and so indebted to all of you, and mwah, all the mwah. Just, I have so many good things to keep me occupied over the next few months, and I am so ready to read it all, and just, I cannot explain. I cannot explain the love. So I hope all of you had a really wonderful Christmas if you celebrate it, and if you don't, I just hope you had a wonderful, restful couple of weeks. We all deserve it after the 2 years that we've had, let's be honest. And I will see you very soon with another video soon. Bye.